Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how to make traditional pancakes. So unlike a lot of the commercial pre-packaged pancake mixes, traditional pancakes are not so quick. They follow more of a slow process in that we're fermenting the grains, the flour that will make the pancakes the night before. The pancake recipe I'm going to be showing y'all actually comes from this cookbook. If you are interested, I highly recommend it. It's an absolute gem. And it's something that I go to all the time. It's a really wonderful cookbook if you want to learn more about traditional foods and the way that they're prepared. In order to begin this recipe, you actually need to start the night before. So it is about 9 o'clock at night. Which means I'm probably going to be making these pancakes around 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, since the flour is going to need at least 12 hours to properly soak. Soaking grains is a very ancient practice and has a multitude of health benefits. Usually with grains, the medium that we're using to do the fermenting is either buttermilk, yogurt, whey, lemon juice, and in some cases vinegar. These mediums activate an enzyme called phytase. The phytase then breaks down the phytic acid that's released from the grains. And what this does is it actually makes the nutrients that are already existing in the grains way more available to our bodies. So it increases the vitamin content and our ability to absorb these nutrients properly. The soaking medium that I'm going to be using in this recipe is yogurt. Sour milk products like yogurt often contain bacteria called lactobacilli. This bacteria is really important because it actually helps make grains more digestible. Those of us who have issues digesting grains, maybe you have a grain allergy, you're sensitive, you tend to have a lot of digestive issues when you ingest grains, it might not be the grain's fault, but the way that it's being prepared. Oftentimes people will find that they can eat sourdough and other fermented breads versus store brand, sort of the more instant version of bread, which really isn't bread, like Wonder Bread, for example, which is a pretty extreme example, albeit, but still. There are many people who find symptom relief from eating grains prepared in a traditional way. To soak the batter, you're going to need 2 cups of flour and 2 cups of yogurt or kefir. So this is what the batter should look like once you have the flour and yogurt combined. At this point, it's ready to ferment. In order to soak the batter properly, you're gonna want to leave it in a nice warm place overnight. One place that you might like to put it is on the stove top in the middle between the burners. If you put your hand, you can often feel the warmth coming from the pilot light. That's a nice place to leave your bowl of grains, and you can cover it with a lid like I have for my Tupperware, or you can even use a clean dish towel as a covering. Another place in the kitchen that's convenient to soak grains overnight is the microwave. You won't be turning it on, but the microwave is actually very insulated. It doesn't get very cool inside. So I'm gonna be sticking my Pyrex container inside the microwave overnight. It's just gonna go to sleep, and tomorrow morning it will be ready to digest. So I have the batter in the microwave, and it's gonna stay there 12 hours. All right, I'll check back in tomorrow morning and show you all the rest of this recipe. Good morning, everyone. Back in the kitchen to check on the pancake batter to see how it looks this morning. Let's go check it out. Here's the pancake batter. It's been fermenting for roughly 12.5 hours at this point. It's smelling nice and sour as it should, and it's ready for the remaining ingredients to go in to make these cakes. So for the next ingredients that we're gonna add, you're gonna need 2 eggs beaten as shown. You will need 1 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 2 tablespoons of butter melted as shown. Lastly, you're also going to need 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Once you have all the ingredients mixed in, as shown, you'll notice the batter is a little thicker than normal for pancakes. It's almost like a bread dough texture. So at this stage, what we do very slowly and gradually is you're just gonna add a little bit of filtered water to thin it out a little bit so it's more liquidy and more what we would expect from a pancake mix. I like to do just a little bit of water at a time and mix it in and see, because you can always put more water in, but you can't take water out. So I like to err on the side of caution and do a little bit at a time and sort of mix it and see if I need to add more. Once you've added the water to thin it out, the batter should look like this. Before putting your batter down, make sure you get your pan nice and greased. I like to use good old-fashioned butter. Makes them taste really nice. So I'm gonna get this pan heated up, buttered up, and then we're gonna start spooning on our batter. All right, we've got that butter almost all the way melted, and I've got my bowl of batter on the side, and to be scooping, I'm gonna be using a tablespoon, just a regular tablespoon, like when we would be, what you'd be eating soup with. And so what you'll do is you'll just take 1 spoon scoop and pour. I like to make these ones a little on the smaller side. This recipe, depending on how big you make your pancakes, it can make between roughly 16 and 24 pancakes. Once again, depending on the size. Look at that one's like an egg shape. I love it. Now these pancakes will cook. I've got them towards like a medium high setting on my stove. What you'll find with soaked grains is that they will typically take a little bit longer to cook. So, you know, with pancakes, we're looking for those little bubbles that appear on top. So these might take a little bit longer. Still be mindful. They're gonna be a little bit more chewy and not as fluffy as traditional pancakes, but they're packed with a lot more flavor and a lot more nutrients. As you can see, some nice little bubbles are starting to form on the tops of some of these cakes. I'm gonna go ahead and test this one. That was the first one that I poured, and it looks like it might be ready. Et voila, beautiful. It's just when you start seeing those bubbles, right? Those of us who have made pancakes before are probably familiar with that, but I wanted to just point it out in case you weren't aware of when to flip your cakes. And yes, I have been observing and noticing that they do take a little bit longer than, you know, the instant batter pancakes do, but that's normal. You know, we think that, oh, this is so slow, but really it's just on time. This is how a lot of our ancestors made pancakes, prepared grains in general, low and slow. They are looking beautiful, aren't they? Nice and golden. Ooh, hello. Let me get this little fella. So there you go. On my pan, I can usually fit between 4 to 5 pancakes at a time. Once again, you can make them as big as you want. I feel like these cook better when you make them more of the size that I'm showing right here on the smaller side. And they are also much more filling than regular pancakes. So don't be surprised if you fill up after only having a few, like maybe 2 or 3, even though they're just so small. They're just so nutrient dense. That's why. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and happy pancake making.